The Department of Justice, joined by 15 states and the District of Columbia, sued Apple in the U.S. District Court for the District of New Jersey for violating Section 2 of the Sherman Antitrust Act. iPhone sales have made up a majority of Apple's annual revenue. Today, Apple's share of the U.S. performance smartphone market exceeds 70%, and its share of the entire U.S. smartphone market exceeds 65%. But as our complaint alleges, Apple has maintained monopoly power in the smartphone market not simply by staying ahead of the competition on the merits, but by violating federal antitrust laws.
Alright, so I'm sure you guys all heard the news. Apple is being sued by the United States Department of Justice. But why are they actually being sued? Well, apparently Apple is a monopoly, specifically for the smartphone market. But is Apple really a monopoly? Let's actually define what a monopoly really is. So according to the Oxford Language Dictionary, a monopoly is the exclusive possession or control of the supply or trade in a commodity or service. So in this definition, Apple doesn't really have a monopoly on the smartphone market, because that would imply that they have a control over the actual supply and service of smartphones. They probably have control of the supply and service of iPhones. Apparently, to the United States Department of Justice, Apple controls 70% of the smartphone market in the United States. Technically, controlling the iPhone will indeed lead to them controlling most of the smartphone market. And as we know, Apple has a lot of different products that they come out with, but they have different degrees of control. For the iPad, they have a lot of control, same as for the iPhone. And the thing with the Apple Watch and the AirPods is that they're really accessories to the iPhone that they really lock down the control. They have a tight grip on. It's not so much the same with the Mac. So when it comes with the Mac, there's a lot of different things that Apple cannot have control on just to make the Mac actually be a viable option. But that's the problem, is that Apple has a lot of control over their own products. If we go further into the article, we can see exactly what Apple is actually being sued for. So Apple is being accused of leveraging their dominance on the smartphone market with the iPhone, on making customers and developers more reliant on the iPhone. But don't all companies do this? I'm confused. Take a look at Amazon, for instance. The first page on the Amazon website, we see Amazon advertising their other products to make people more reliant on their Amazon Prime subscription service. Not only do they advertise their own products to ensure that customers are more reliant on their subscription services, but they also take a percentage cut from sales. So the DOJ came out with 5 reasons or 5 main examples of why they're actually suing Apple. I'll go through all 5 of them and tell you guys why this whole suing issue might not actually hold up in court. Some of them are old news, some of them just don't really make any sense, and some of them actually do make sense, and Apple should maybe work on these things that they're being accused of. So the first accusation is that Apple is blocking innovative super apps. If someone can tell me what the hell is an innovative super app, please do, because I'm not too sure what they mean here. They're saying that Apple's blocking the growth of apps that have unlimited capabilities or bigger capabilities, and apparently they're called innovative super apps. I'm not too sure what they mean. The only real blocking of apps that I can tell that Apple did recently is the iMessage app on Android. I think that was called Beeper Mini. Yeah, they blocked it, but that wouldn't make people switch to another phone. That would just make people use Apple services. So if Apple came out with iMessage on the Android side, then a lot of people would want to use iMessage, and the other messaging apps will not be used as much, and then Apple will continue to have a dominance. So it's not really clear exactly what they mean by Apple blocking innovative super apps. If someone knows what they mean by this, leave it down in the comments so we can have a discussion about it, but I'm not too sure exactly what they mean by this. All right, so they're also suing Apple for not allowing mobile streaming services games not being able to play on the iPhone. But Apple already debunked this, and earlier this year, they allowed streaming games to come on the iPhone. So streaming services that plays games, you can do that on your iPhone now. This was already available early this year. So for this to be part of the lawsuit, it's kind of old news already. So they might want to readjust their plannings or their goals, because this point is just not one they really want to fight on, because it's already old news. All right, so yes, Apple has another thing that they're being sued for: the limitations of cross platform messaging. And this again has already been changed. Apple already announced last year that they're going to adopt RCS, which is going to make the messaging between Android phones and iPhones a lot better. This is already another point that is not really a necessary point to add into the lawsuit. Maybe they just wanted to fluff it up, but in reality, this point has already been addressed and they won't be able to use this in court. I'm not giving Apple praise for doing this because this was thanks to the EU, but still, they're already working on it. So this lawsuit already has 2 points that are just not valid anymore. Another reason why Apple is being sued is because they're limiting the functionality of third-party smartwatches. So apparently, Apple is actually limiting functionality of third-party smartwatches to work with their phone. I'm not too sure exactly what Apple is doing. I saw a video on The Verge about this same situation, and I left a comment asking people what Apple is actually doing to actually limit the functionality of these different smartwatches. And the only thing that I could get is that Apple's limiting text replies. Other than that, I couldn't get an answer. So I'm not too sure exactly what Apple's actually doing that is actually making the DOJ want to sue them for this specific reason. On the flip side, Apple is not letting you use your Apple Watch with Android phones. I think that's a good thing because if you are able to actually use your Apple Watch with a Samsung or a Pixel phone, it will literally kill the smartphone market for the Android side. Everyone knows that the Apple Watch is a dominant and one of the best, probably is the best, arguably the best smartwatch in the market. If everyone had access to the Apple Watch, it will kill off a lot of these Android smartwatches. And then Apple will be even bigger and be more dominant and get sued again. I don't think that letting people use Apple Watches with their Android phones is the solution at all. I just think that the smartwatches are accessories to the phones. So if you want to get a smartwatch, it should go with the phone that you want to get. So that's my thoughts on this situation regarding the smartwatch. But there's one final thing that Apple's being sued for. So I was today years old when I figured out that Apple is the only digital wallet service available on the iPhone. I thought that Google Wallet or Samsung Wallet or all the different type of wallets were available on the iPhone, but apparently not. I never bothered to look because the default wallet is the Apple Wallet and it works perfectly fine. There's no real reason for me to look for another one, and they all do the same thing. But apparently, Apple is the only one. I mean, I think it's a mistake. I mean, if someone wants to actually download the Google Wallet because they already have everything downloaded there, they don't want to reinstall everything again, or maybe they switch phones a lot and they just want it to have on the Google Wallet so they can go have it on any different type of phone, then I guess that would be a bonus. I don't really see this as a problem. I mean, I didn't even notice that they weren't available on the iPhone. I don't think most of the people even cares. Apple, get on it, fix it. I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. People use the digital wallet. I think they'll just use the convenient one, which is the one that's already baked into their phones. Maybe some other people that have different phones or different services that they use, they'll probably go and look out for a specific digital wallet. As long as your service is the best, people will go with yours. So just put the third-party digital wallets available on the App Store and have the different third-party wallets be available. I mean, I don't know how big this is. To me, it just feels like the DOJ is really just reaching for anything that they can add to the lawsuit to make it look bigger. But I don't think most people care about this. I actually don't think most people know about the fact that the Apple Wallet is the only digital wallet available on the iPhone. I thought all of them were available, but yeah, you learn something new every day. All right, so is Apple really a monopoly? After all I've read and seen, I don't really think that Apple is a monopoly. I would say that yes, they do have a dominance in the smartphone market, but they're not necessarily a monopoly. They are also weaponizing their actual flagship product, which is the iPhone, to leverage other products like AirPods, Apple Watches, iPads, or whatever the sort is. Anything that can be linked to the iPhone, they are leveraging that. But the problem is that Google's doing the same thing, Samsung's doing the same thing, other companies are doing the exact same thing. If you're gonna have Apple being punished for this specific reason, then you're gonna have to punish every other company doing the same, and it's not gonna go well for the whole market in general. So I don't think that that's a good reason to really sue Apple. Maybe for a few of the things that we mentioned, like the digital wallet and the suppressing super apps, again, which I don't know exactly what they mean by that. Maybe those few things, yes, Apple should be punished for that, or actually should be correcting those situations and make the actual market a lot better for the other companies, consumers, and developers that are developing apps. I don't think this lawsuit is going to go anywhere. For now, that's pretty much it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments so we can have a full discussion about this specific topic. I made this video so we can have a discussion. It's not necessarily my opinion and that's it. So yeah, so that's about it for this video. I'll see you guys on another video, so you guys can subscribe and like the video if you actually enjoyed what you're watching. So yeah, see you guys on another video. Peace.